In this training, we'll go over the steps involved in creating an event through the Event Wizard. You can access the Event Wizard from your dashboard by clicking Create an Event, or by clicking on the Event Wizard tab. You may also recall from the previous video that when looking at the availability of a room in the Location tab, you can click directly on an available time to launch the Event Wizard, pre-populating the location, day, and time. For now, however, we will click on the Event Wizard tab. The Event Wizard is comprised of a number of fields, some of which are required. These are identified by a red asterisk. Throughout the Event Wizard, it's important to be as accurate and honest as possible. Please select the most appropriate event type. If you have previously starred certain event types, these will appear at the top of the list. Next is primary organization. You can search for an organization, or if you've previously starred one, it will appear at the top of the list. If there are multiple organizations sponsoring an event, you can add in a second here. Once you've completed all required fields on a given page, you can click Next. Alternately, you could click Cancel to close out of the Event Wizard without saving, or you could save. However, if you have additional required fields that you have not yet completed, this will jump you ahead to the next required field. Head count is a required field. Please try to be as accurate as possible. It may help you before you build an event to search for a specific room and view the size. While event description is not a required field, it is a highly important one. In this first rollout of 25 Live at BU, event description and another field, comments, can both be used to share information with the space owner about how you intend to use the space. Next, you'll need to indicate whether this event will take place on a single occasion or on multiple occasions. In either case, you'll need to start by setting up the first occurrence. You can click on the calendar and navigate by month or year, or by these arrows to find the appropriate date. And you can click on the time to select a start and an end time. Please note that unless your event goes past midnight, you'll need to leave this box ticked. If your event requires setup or pre-event time, or post-event or takedown time, you can indicate that here. Please note, the reservation duration is increased. Next, if you've indicated that your event will take place on multiple occurrences, you'll need to choose how your event repeats. In this case, I'm going to set up a weekly occurrence, and I'm going to select an end date. Once I've selected an end date, I will then see an occurrence list, or every time this meeting will take place. I can then, as appropriate, cancel specific meetings so that the room will not be held on those dates. Next, you must request a location. Within the location request page, you can search in 4 ways. First, by any locations that you have starred. Those will appear in this box at the top of the screen. You can also search by specific location name. You can reference any saved searches, either that you have performed or public searches. Lastly, you could do an advanced search if you're looking for a room that has particular features, such as technology or furniture. You can search by categories, and you can search by capacity. In each of these 4 search options, you'll note 2 boxes at the bottom of the screen. The first show only my authorized locations that have no time conflicts. By leaving that box ticked, your search results will be limited to spaces that are available at that time. The second, enforce headcount. Leaving this ticked will mean that your search results are limited to rooms that are large enough given your anticipated enrollment. It's important to note at this point that any location you select is a request, and that some locations are more appropriate to request than others. For example, registrar-controlled classrooms are very appropriate to request, as are spaces that are controlled by events and conferences. If you're from a particular academic unit, you might know of spaces controlled by your department that are appropriate to request, for example, a conference room. Other locations in 25 Live might be less appropriate to request. For example, a number of lab spaces exist in the 25 Live inventory purely for the purpose of having them appear on student schedules on the link. But those are not generally requestable locations. While you might be able to request a particular location in the event wizard, that does not necessarily mean that your request will be approved. There are a few ways that you can ensure that you are requesting appropriate spaces. First, by making sure that you know what you're asking for. This might be by visiting the location page and seeing what type of space it is. The space owner may have indicated on that page whether use is limited to certain populations. If there's a space that you've historically used and request regularly, I would recommend starring that so that it comes up first in searches. You can also run an advanced search by specific categories, such as Department OUR, to limit your search results to all rooms controlled by the registrar's office, or for all rooms controlled by events and conferences. With this particular search, if I select any, my search results will consist of all spaces controlled by the registrar's office or by events and conferences, which are available at the time of my event. Lastly, I would recommend visiting saved searches and looking at public searches. These searches reflect commonly used spaces available to the broader BU community. In this case, I'm going to select one of my starred locations. I do so by clicking on the room. You'll note that once I've clicked on the room, it appears on the right side of the screen. But perhaps I'm interested in a different room. If I click on a second space, you'll note that I now have 2 rooms requested. If multiple locations are required for your event, then it's fine to request as many as you need. But I would recommend indicating in the comments field that you do in fact need multiple locations. If you only need one and you accidentally click on multiple rooms, you can remove individual requests by clicking on the red X for whichever rooms you do not want to ask for. Contacts refer to any people or roles associated with an event. You should generally not edit this page. The comments field is your second opportunity, in addition to the event description field, to communicate with the space owner about how you intend to use the space. This is also where you might want to let the space owner or owners know if you're requesting multiple locations. Lastly, you'll need to click I agree to acknowledge that you have read, understand, and agree to the terms outlined in the scheduling policy. And then click Save. Now that you've saved your event, you'll need to wait for approval or denial from the space owner. Until that point, your event will remain in the draft state. To view the event details, you can click here for View Details. You'll also have a quick link on your dashboard. By refreshing my event drafts, I now have one event draft in which I am the requester. Although, generally speaking, the ball is in the court of the space owner at this point, there are a few things that you can keep an eye out for. If your space request is approved, you will be notified through your email that your event has been updated. You will also notice by refreshing your event drafts that that event will no longer be listed, but rather would be listed under your upcoming events. If the space owner needs additional information, they might email you to get that, and there may be some back and forth. Or the space owner might deny your request, in which case, rather than formally denying it, the space owner will likely send you an email letting you know that the space is unavailable. In that case, you would need to click on your event draft, edit it, click on Locations, and select a different location. As a space requester, you will likely only have access to the draft state. However, once your space request has been approved, your event will be moved into the confirmed state. The implications of this are that once your event has been confirmed, you may not be able to edit it. If you find that that's the case, you'll need to email the space owner who approved your event and ask them to edit it for you. You can do this by clicking More Actions, Email Event Details. Within this, you can email any related recipients, in this case, anyone with assignment tasks, which will email the space owner. You can add on additional recipients. I would recommend including the event details in the body of the message. If your event has been confirmed and you would like to change the location, you can either ask the space owner to move your event back into the draft state so that you can edit it, or you can ask them to cancel your event while you build a new event requesting the correct location. Different locations may have differing assignment policies, which might mean that the amount of time you wait before getting a confirmation will vary. If you've waited a while and haven't gotten a response, you may want to reach out to the space owner. If you have any questions on event building through 25 Live, please reach out to the registrar's office or to Events and Conferences.